It is Discover and Recover Yoga. Here we are at the core. At the core of this practice for DNR yoga is the idea of stepping into the light. Hi, Neil McGuffog here. Thank you, Discover and Recover Yoga people, yoga tribe, on this summer solstice. How apropos, perhaps a coincidence, I think not, that we practice this concept of stepping into the light on this day, the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer solstice. So welcome on the 21st of June, 2023. Again, my first name is Neil, last name is McGuffog, founder at the Core. And that has been celebrated its 9-year anniversary next month, July of 2023. Delighted. Thank you so much for zooming in, focusing in, whether you're doing this in person or virtually with in person, but live on this recording, or maybe you access it at some other time. Please let me know questions, comments, feedback. The idea of stepping into the light. I would suggest that research has indicated, evidence-based research, that psychologically in our psychosocial development, there are dark sides, shadow sides. Some people call it shadow work that takes place over the course of time. And it involves a plethora, a wide range of concepts and notions and characteristics and personality traits based on our upbringing, based on past traumas, based on environment, a plethora of such a wide variety of elements come into play when it talks about the dark side, the shadow side, those elements that are within our consciousness or unconsciousness that we kind of mask over. For me, it's fear, procrastination, a little bit of envy. It ranges with resentment, anger, bitterness, unresolved resentments. These elements that perhaps are derived again from our physical environment, our emotional environment, how much support we find in our home lives and our work lives. So the opportunity on this, the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer solstice, that wherever you are at whatever time, even up until probably 9:30, maybe even 9:45 tonight, you can maybe even step out into the fading light, just bringing to your body, absorbing some of that natural vitamin D from the sun on this day. Again, welcome. We are going to begin standing. So coming in onto your mat is standing position. Move my tools out of the way. Meditation cushion. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. Mountain pose, one of my favorites. I'll tell the story that when I started this yoga journey 15 years ago, with a partner I was training marathons with, and he suggested I try yoga, and I was like, I don't think so. I'm not going to waste an hour doing yoga. I'll do some resistance training, or I'll do a run to keep that running training going. But first session, I fell in love, and I remember 4 or 5 months into the practice, I was at a studio with as a walk-in or a drop-in. I think I spent maybe $8 or $9. That was 15 years ago now. The classes or drop-ins are closer to 20 or 25. We stood in mountain pose, 6-7 minutes. I was like, wait a second, when are we going to start moving? But this is an opportunity, as I've referenced in the last few sessions in DNR, as well as the other groups I've instructed, the power of mountain pose, relaxing but grounding, relaxing but fulfilling, in that we notice the lengthening of the spine, the softening of the shoulders, the rooting down into all 4 corners of the feet. Some practitioners will lift the toes, lift the toe pads off of the surface, and then eventually see if we can get those, let the toe pads come back onto the surface. You might find a little rock front to back, maybe even side to side. Some go into a circular. In that effort to root and to ground down, just think about the base of mountains and mountain ranges, how expansive and how formidable they are in their strength and their resiliency and their power. So trying to find strength and connection in mountain pose. If you feel comfortable to close the eyes, we're going to mitigate that forward head tilt. We're thinking about bringing the front of the throat to the back of the neck, and you feel like the chest is expanding a bit. And then just scan the body, crown of the head to the sole of the feet. Notice what you might notice, an area that needs a little extra releasing of unnecessary stiffness. Letting go of any tension, any tightness, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, wrists. And then DNR peeps as we become more aware of how we're showing up in the physical body, this container, a little shout out, a big shout out again to the body, or it's what it does on an every moment of everyday basis. The attention now draws to the breath. Bringing in deeper inhales and lengthier exhales. If you'd like to practice, and I'm going to suggest we do this box breathing. It's an inhale for maybe a 4 or 5 count through the nostrils. You hold at the top of that inhale for 4 or 5 counts. And then the suggestion is you exhale. Let's exhale through the mouth, dare I say, yes, I say, for 4 or 5 counts. And at the bottom of the exhale, guess what? You pause and hold that bottom of the exhale for 4 or 5 counts. Box breathing, very popular, done through a lot of different organizations, including military groups like the Navy SEALs, practicing box breathing. Can be very grounding, very centering, stress reducing, bringing you to more focus, more concentration. I'll mind the time as we go for about another minute, maybe a minute and a half with this box breathing. Feel free if you'd like to expand it to maybe 6, maybe even 7 counts. Just depends on breath pattern and breath and lung capacity. So explore with that. Hope and desire, as I'm fond of saying, that your exhale will help you to feel a little more at ease, a little more grounded, ready to step into the light. A few more moments, please. Okay. Eventually, on an in-breath, let's draw the hands to the heart center as you practice transitioning into that nostril breathing. Ujjayi breath, just a fancy term for breathing in through the nose, out through those nostril breathing. Setting the intention, maybe it is stepping into the light, stepping into your light, recognizing the power that you have in the midst of all the swirling dervishes, all of the seemingly chaotic aspects that life may be offering. Can we individually and collectively recognize our light, recognize our place in this chaos, our place in the smoothness of life, our place when things are going rough, coming back to the breath as an anchor, knowing when dark times come, light is just around the corner. There's another intention, maybe a purpose, an idea, a thought, maybe sending some love, some light out to a loved one in your midst. Let's please interlace those fingers, and as you exhale, press interlace palms towards the front of the mat. I'm going to purposely carve out the core Draw the chin towards the chest. You're probably staring right down between the big toes. Now inhale those interlaced palms towards the ceiling, please. Lifting up and out of not only the shoulder heads, but also the hip sockets. Now float the hands out and down, and let's interlace, bind at your low back. Now what I'm going to suggest we do is draw the knuckles south. So I'm drawing the knuckles towards my tailbone, and then I'm going to take all 10 knuckles to that right hip. I'm going to draw the right elbow towards the back of the mat, and I'm going to gaze over the left shoulder. On an inhale, lifting the chin to the ceiling, exhale, chin towards collarbone. Inhale, the chin lifts, exhale, the chin lowers. So we'll go for 3. That nostril breathing, Ujjayi breath is guiding us. Inhale, we lift for 2. Exhale, we lower. Last time, inhale, we rise, and exhale, lower. Now please release that bind. Let's give the shoulders some love. You can take them front and back. Shoulder rotation. Oh, yeah. But eventually, once again, the hands back at the heart space where all the good stuff emanates: kindness, compassion, empathy, tolerance, patience, forgiveness, but ultimately love emanating from the heart center. Now, please reinterlace the fingers, less dominant thumb on top, press it forward. Yep. Carve out that core. It sounds like the chin is popular when I say the chin is in. So tuck the chin in towards the chest. Yes. Carry some stress on the upper back between the shoulder blades. Let's see if we can release that. Now, inhale those interlaced palms once again to the ceiling. Maybe you're practicing outside to the beautiful blue sky. Now, release hands out and down. Yes, we're rebinding, less dominant thumb on top. Draw the knuckles south. I can feel my collarbone spread and my shoulder blade squeeze. Now, all 10 knuckles to that left hip. Left elbow goes back, gaze over the right shoulder. Same thing, other side. Inhale, the chin lifts. Exhale, the chin lowers. See if you can keep that left elbow drawn to the back of the mat. We'll go for 3. Nice. Breathing steady into that for 2. Oh, there's a nice pop. Now on 1, relax and release. Again, maybe a little shoulder shimmy. And let's do this. Purposely draw the chin towards the chest. Right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder. So half a neck roll. Now, after you've completed 3 or 4 of these, if you'd like, beginning the full neck roll. For me, it's been indicated and suggested I just stay with the half a neck roll. So I'm going to go stay with the half version, but if it's available for you to do the full version, please feel free. Making sure you switch sides. So we'll keep going here. A few more rotations, please. Yeah, maintain that core engagement. Think about super rooted from the waist down, building that strong foundation. Here we go for 4. Here's 3, 2. All right, eventually back to mountain. Relax the fingers. Relax the throat and the jaw. Beautiful. Right hand to left shoulder. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Left hand to right shoulder. And we're hugging. I might widen my stance a little bit. So instead of hip distance, I'm going to come out to about shoulder distance, and I'm going to twist. And in the twist, with this bind, I'm attempting to keep my hips square to the top of the mat. The gaze might follow the twisting shoulders, or you might go opposite. Gaze might go opposite. So you're twisting right, the gaze is left, and vice versa. Here we are, warming up. I've heard some teachers talk about spinning around the heart center. So here we go for 4. Maintain that bind for 3. Here's 2. Okay, now on 1, please relax. Yeah, maybe a little shoulder shimmy. Still in mountain. Still in our standing posture. Now, it is right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. Let's see. No, left hand, right shoulder, right hand to left shoulder. I'll get it right. I'm mirroring you guys. So build that bind. When we're in a bind on the mat, on our yoga mat, it's a good thing. When I'm in a bind out there in the real world, it's a bit of a challenge. Again, hips stay as relatively square to the top of the mat as possible. Let that spin, that twist emanate above the hips. Yeah. Oof. Nice. Here we go. Here's 6. Hugging yourselves. We love ourselves for 5. Self-love, first love, best love. 4. Here's 3, 2. Nice. Now on 1, relax. Whew. Again, maybe a little neck roll, a little shoulder shimmy. Eventually returning to mountain Tadasana. That's the Sanskrit term for mountain pose, Tadasana. Big breath in. I love to, on occasion, while we're focusing on nostril breathing, just again, a gentle reminder, try nostril breathing when you're doing any cardio, whether it's a brisk walk with the dog out around the neighborhood, a cycle session, an indoor cycle session, you're outside on your bike, you're climbing stairs, cutting the grass, nostril breathing. So maybe set the watch, look for maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, work yourself up to a minute. Eventually, depending on the level of cardio output, you'll have to return to mouth breathing, but we're looking to do that to build lung capacity and lung endurance. Okay, offering a tray of drinks. My palms are facing up. I'm going to purposely take this right arm underneath the left. Right arm goes underneath left, thumbs down. So I'm twisting my palms down. Palms are facing each other. Interlace those hands. A lot of interlacing. Draw those knuckles in towards the chest. My elbows are hugging my torso. Tendency to draw the shoulders up, but keep the shoulders soft. I'm going to do the best job I can to maybe take those triceps to parallel. And a little engagement with the legs as we draw the hips and down. So we're sitting into a chair in this bind. So it's going to be a big wrist opener for some. If it's not available to take the triceps to parallel, just keep the triceps low. And we hold here for 3. Nice. Maybe sink a little lower, still able to see the toes underneath your knees for 2. Nice. Now 1, re-straighten the legs. Let's undo the bind, please. The fingers can wiggle, the wrists can rotate, and I'd say we shake it on out. I tell the groups I work with out at the recovery center for alcoholics and drug addicts, just shake that shit out, let it go. Okay. Offering the tray drinks. Okay. Now it's the left arm goes underneath the right. Thumbs down, reinterlace, keep the shoulders soft. The shoulders will probably want to creep up by the ears. Draw those knuckles in towards the heart center. Keep the elbows tucked in, or maybe bring it up. And then once again, sink down. Chair pose. Relax the shoulders, relax the throat. Okay. All is well. We hold this and breathing into this, we'll hold for 5. Nice. Maybe sink the boot a little lower, almost there for 4. Breathing steady into that for 3. Here's 2. Now re-straighten the legs, undo the bind. Yeah. And wiggle it out, shake it out. Okay. Guess what? Still in mountain. Just like, what? We're going to get this to. So the weight's going to shift to this right, but left leg crosses to the outside of the right leg. So left foot is to the outside of the right foot. We're going to reach the arms towards the ceiling. I'm going to take my right hand and grab my left wrist and side bend to the right. That's going to open up that left side body. I get a little wanky, so I'm going to see how mountainous or how rounded I can be into all 4 corners of both feet. As I tip it to the right, we'll hold for 3. Nice. So this is lateral movement of the spine. Keep breathing, using this right hand for leverage for 2. Now 1, come back to center, and let's uncross. Mountain. The times I've been able to leave the land of horizontal beauty, aka Central Indiana, and head west, or spend some time in the Smoky Mountains, where my sister has got a home in Boone, North Carolina. A couple of years ago, I was in the White Mountains of Vermont with my son, with Green Mountains, the Green Mountains, and actually my 3-year anniversary of trekking up, 4-year anniversary of trekking up the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa, was certainly epic. Mountains have just held just a soft spot in my heart. I just love the power, the majesty, the resilience. Okay, all the way to that left foot, right leg crosses to the outside of the left. Maybe notice some nuances. It may feel a little different from one side to the other. Hips are in place, feet are grounded, arms will lift. Left hand grabs right wrist, side bend to the left. I'm using that left hand for leverage. Ooh, a little wanky. If you get a little wobbly, you can begin again or just reset yourself as we hold for 4. Nice. Hello, lateral movement spine for 3. Just breathing into that for 2. Now, when we're coming back to center and uncrossing. Oh, yeah. Maybe a little hip shimmy. Nice. Okay. From mountain pose, hands come onto the thighs. And let's just slide the hands down the thighs, wrapping the hands, fingertips around the knees. So it looks like we've just completed a 100-meter dash, a little out of gas. Now from this, it's a standing cat cow. Inhale, draw the heart forward, lift the gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, chin tucks and back rounds. Inhaling for cow. Exhale for catch. That's the movement as we keep going. Inhaling, heart opens, gaze lifts, exhale, chin tucks. Here's 6. Steady into this for 5. Here we go for 4. Each breath will initiate a movement. Inhale will initiate cow. Exhale will initiate cat. Here's 3. 2. Last one. Nice. As you neutralize here, let's begin the descent. Just continue sliding the hands down the legs into our first standing forward fold. First standing forward fold. Relax into this, let go, release. Slight bend to the knees, maybe a deep bend to the knees. Some will sway, some will bind. Yeah. If you'd like, check in with your base. Come up onto the tiptoes, lifting the heels. And then maybe rock it back, lift the toes, come onto the heels, maybe segue over to the right side. I'm on the in blade of the left foot, the outer blade of the right foot. I'm segueing over to the left side. I'm on the out blade of the left foot, in blade of the right foot. Yeah. So all that can take place, but eventually I'm going to have opposite hand grab, opposite elbow, frame the head on the inhale. Let's come up the right side. That's going to bring us to the top. The head is framed. Hello. And exhale down the left. Okay, maintain the bind. Inhale up the left side. Reach the apex. Exhale down the right. So let's continue that little flow. Inhale up the right. Exhale down the left. Inhale up the left. Ooh, yeah, reach the top. Really frame the head. Exhale down the right. One more time. Inhale, we sweep up the right side. Hello, framed head. Exhale down the left. Inhale up the left. Exhale down the right. Pause here. Release the bind. Okay, friends. From this forward fold, standing version, bend the knees. However you can get the palms to the mat. Walk the feet back. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, where we pedal, wagging the tail, hands at shoulder distance, feet about hip distance. A lot of energy at the top of the mat, moving the head a bit, yes or no. That's the higher energy centers, the head and the neck. Beautiful, guys. Eventually, I'm going to suggest we walk the feet out wide. I'm onto the surface outside the mat. So a little wide-legged downward dog. Right hand to left knee, left shin, maybe left ankle. Right hand to left knee, left shin, left ankle. Right shoulder dips low. I'm probably gazing up underneath that left armpit as we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. That one. Right hand comes back. Other side. Left hand to right knee, right shin, right ankle. Ooh, yeah. Glad I put some deodorant on. Gazing underneath that right armpit. We'll dip that left shoulder low for 3. That's you guys almost there for 2. That one. Left hand comes back. Feet to about regular downward dog. Inhale to the tiptoes. Now please lower all the way down. Table. Untuck the toes. Big toes to touch. Draw the knees out wide. Child's pose. So hunkering down, first child's pose of the practice. Simply allow a releasing. Letting go. Yeah. This is where I like to reintroduce a fuller and richer and deeper breath in through the nose. And then please let that exhale be representative. I'm going to say this repeatedly. Let that exhale be representative of the releasing. That which no longer serves.
some of the dark side, some of the shadow side elements. It's a work in progress. And it could be dare I say, a lifetime of work in increments. So be kind to yourselves. Now take all 10 fingertips to the right side. Let that left side open. I can feel my left hip a little heavy towards my left heel. Option for some is to float that right hand down by the side of the body, bend the right elbow, bring the back of the right hand to the low back, maybe the mid back. So that's going to be working in that right shoulder a bit. So we're still having that left arm sweep over towards the right side. If that doesn't work, you can just bring the right hand down by the side. Nice. We'll hold here for 3. Hopefully the breath is flowing smoothly for 2. Now on 1, let's release that right hand and the left hand over to the left side. Same thing, other side. So now I get my right side body to open, right hip heavy towards right heel. Left hand can float down by the side board. Maybe bend the left elbow, bring the left back of the left hand to the low back. Maybe the mid back. Just depends on shoulder flexibility. Check in with the breath. We'll hold here for 3. Breathing steady into that for 2. Now, 1, sweep everything back to neutral child's pose. All right, friends, on an inhale, I'm coming up to table, which probably for me means I got to bring my knees back underneath my hips. My wrists back underneath my shoulders. If there are flexion issues with the wrists, you can do this from the fists. You can do this from the fists. Option now is to extend this right leg to the back of the room. Foot is flexed. Yeah, nice. I'm going to go ahead and think about keeping that right heel towards the ceiling, toes towards right, left arm comes forward. Okay. Inhale to lengthen the left fingertips and that right heel. And as I exhale, I'm taking the right leg out towards the right side of the mat, the left arm out towards the left side. I'm going to lower that right foot to the floor, lower that left hand back underneath the shoulder. Okay. So hopefully you can eyeball that right hip is in alignment, or that right ankle is kind of in alignment with the left hip, with the right hip. Option is take the right hand to the right shin, maybe the left hand over there as well. Some will drop or lower left hip towards left heel. Big stretch, I get that. Otherwise, you're staying up like this as we hold for 3. Nice, breathing steady into that for 2. Now gently come back to center, which means we're back to table. I'm going to switch sides so I can show the other side. You're back to hands and knees, all is well. Left leg comes back. Okay. Keeping that foot flexed, right arm comes forward, just for this momentary pause in spinal balance. We'll hold here for 3, breathing into that for 2. Now, when right arm comes out like a wing, left foot is in line with the left hip. Left foot is grounded. I'm going to return that right hand back to the mat. Left hand, you guessed it, to left shin, maybe left ankle. Right hand might float over there as well. And maybe the right hip might lower towards the right heel. Yeah. Nice. Oof. Big stretch, guys. We'll hold for 3. You can also just be up here. You here, be here. You here now for 2. All right, eventually come back to hands and knees. Come back to table. Whatever little moments you need to do to reset yourself, a little tail wag, a little shoulder shimmy. Beautiful. Retuck the toes, relift the hips, downward dog. Okay. Experiencing this downward dog, and I'm just going to say, as you just talk you through this, micro movements, a little tail wag, a little bend the knees. Make this your own. Opportunities come back down to table if you need to, but otherwise, head below the heart. Yeah, bringing some blood to the brain, not a bad thing. Now, when you're ready, inhale, that right leg lifts, and it may lift an inch, it may go a little higher. And I'm going to bend that right knee and attempt to stack right hip on top of left. I might gaze underneath that left armpit to check out that right ankle as it gives some motion. The inhale is going to re-straighten the right leg. As we exhale, right foot comes to the top of the mat. However you want to get the right foot up there. I get that. That's a big ask. That's a big one. I'm going to anchor that left foot down. Left arm's going to cartwheel up and around with warrior 2. So we've got right foot forward, left foot back, warrior 2. Nice. And we'll hear some alignment checks of right heel bisecting the instep of that left foot. Steady gaze, top of the right hand. Inhale, let's float the right hand high, left hand goes low. There's the exalted version. Some will float the left hand to the low back. Maintain that lovely bend into that right knee. A lot of energy outside this
Left foot will hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now releasing back out to the warrior 2, please. Beautiful. Now all I'm going to do is lift these right heel, lift the right toes, and I'm going to pivot to the left side of the mat. And we're in this wide, we'll call it 5-pointed star. The limbs are the 4 points of the star. The crown of the head is the 5th point of the star. Hands come onto the hips. Can you imagine walking to a meeting like this? Try it next time, I dare you. And then fold. Hands on the hips. But eventually, the hands land underneath the shoulders. Wide-legged forward fold. We have the opportunity. Maybe heel toe the feet out a little wider, huh? A little wider. Crown of the head drips to the floor. Okay, from this position, right hand to right shin, right ankle, left hand over there as well. So now my core kind of hovers over that right thigh. Big stretch as we hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now we're coming back to center. Wrists and shoulders are realigned. Relax the throat, relax the jaw. Now it's left hand to right shin, right ankle, left hand to left ankle, left shin, and the right hand floats over there as well. So now my core is kind of hovering over that left thigh. Breath in and breath out. We'll hold for 3. Breathing into that for 2. That one, come back to center. Okay, this is where we're going to change direction. So just be mindful. Take the left toes, point them to the back of the room. So you're not facing, you should be facing the back of the room. So we have this wide-legged, left foot is forward, right foot is back. Anchor that left foot down. Bring that left foot back, downward facing dog. Missed the section there. So bring that left foot back, downward facing dog. Hopefully the verbal cues are clear enough. You don't even have to look at your monitor. Okay, inhale, that left leg lifts. It may go an inch, it may go pretty high. And I'm going to bend that left knee and attempt to stack left hip on top of right. Gaze underneath that right armpit. Might check out that left ankle as it gives some motion. Beautiful, guys. Eventually, left leg will be straightened. Exhale, top of the mat and lunge. Okay. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. Right foot anchors, right arm cartwheels up and around, warrior 2 on the side. Okay. I'll be facing the back of the mat. And if you want to readjust yourself on the mat, absolutely. Warrior 2. Inhale, let's exalt. Left hand high, right hand low. Ooh, yeah. We'll hold here for 3. Maintain a lovely bend into that left knee for 2. Now release it back out to the warrior 2, please. Now left toes lift, and we're pivoting back to where we were, this 5-pointed star. Okay. I'm going to suggest here we bend the knees and we find a little squat, a little yogi squat. Nice. Let's do this. Inhale to lengthen the fingers. As you exhale, left hand sweeps right, right arm sweeps left, a little S shape, and then inhale back out like wings. Exhale, right hand low, left hand high, like so. Inhale back to center. Exhale, we bend and twist, bend. Inhale, release. Exhale, we tip it to the right. Back to center. Let's keep going. Think about arms in opposite direction. Right arm low, left arm high. Back to center. One more time. Left hand low, right hand high. Back to center. Re-straighten the legs. Hands on the hips. Heel toe those feet in. Mountain, yeah. Mountain pose. Stepping back into mountain pose. Release any tension, any those shimmies just to get yourself reset, realigned, readjusted. All is well. You need to position yourself just simply coming back to the top of the mat. Oh, yeah. We'll sweep the arms wide and high. Now, if you're outdoors or when you go outside, think about bringing in that energy, sipping it in, soaking it in, the vibrancy, the energy, the natural vitamin D of that beautiful planet. Maybe lengthening just a bit more, but as we exhale, please gently swan dive, flat back, forward fold. Folding in and relaxing down. A bind of sorts. Some will grab the calves, some will grab the Achilles tendons. I've got some students that wrap peace fingers around the big toes. Some will place the hands underneath the feet, the back of the hands to the mat, toes coming to where maybe the palm meets the wrist. That's a little more challenging. That's a little bigger. That's a little more challenging in that fold. Otherwise, we'll hold for 4. Big breath in, steady breath out for 3,
Breathing steady into that for 2. Now, any bind you have on one, please let it go. Fingertips or palms of the mat. Let's walk the feet back to table. Nice. Okay. No fancy transition. Lower to the right hip. For the left hip, we're going to draw the legs forward. In our staff pose. Yeah, boy, time goes by quickly. So, a little experimentation here. Bend the knees, soles looking on the mat. I'm going to bring my hands behind my hips as I draw my hips, my glutes up to my heels. Now, notice it's a lot more convenient, comfortable for me to do this with my hands behind my back legs. The goal here is to see if I can bind, see if we can bind, bringing maybe opposite hand to opposite elbow. I got opposite hand to opposite forearm. So we're in this little ball, this cannonball. Now, you can watch this if you like. I'd like you to trust this process. I'm tucking my chin towards the chest. I'm going to start to float onto my bum. I'm going to lift the toes, lift the feet off of the mat on the bum, and then I'm going to let go. Eventually, the bind is released. Arms come out like wings. Shoulder blades in the back of the head, knees to the right, gaze is left. Oh, yes. My hope and desire that feels good. From this position, the suggestion is float the right arm across the chest. The right hand may land on the left collarbone, maybe the left shoulder head. Depending on arm length, it may land on the left bicep. If that doesn't feel good, keep the right arm out long. Nice. Big breath in. Nice steady breath out. We'll hold for 3. Left shoulder blade might want to pop a little bit. See if we can keep it grounded for 2. That one, come back to center. Okay, I'd like you to rebind. Grab the shins, and I'd like you to lift the shoulder purposely because my hips are so tight. I have to lift my, but I'd like to find a little crunch. Yeah, bring the forehead towards the knees. Maybe rebind. I can get opposite hand to opposite forearm. I can't quite get opposite hand to opposite elbow. If it's even opposite hand to opposite wrist, that's fine. There's a little core crunch. Hold that in. We'll hold for 5. Chin is in, or maybe the chin, long neck as you gaze to the ceiling, but engage the abs in this crunch, in this cannonball crunch. Draw the navel to the spine for 3. Nice, almost there for 2. That one, let go. Arms tee the torso, knees left, gaze is right. Notice any nuances, anything that might be different. This side, left hand can float across the chest. It might land on the right collarbone, right shoulder head, maybe the right bicep. Stepping into the light, embracing our shadow side, embracing the shadow work through this process, through therapy, through journaling, through, oh gosh, there's so many modalities that are available to us. Simply a walk in nature, right? Coming back into the breath, doing some meditation, being in the moment, all that good stuff, that mindfulness stuff that we talk about. We'll hold for 3. It's almost there for 2. Now let's come back to center. Dare I say, I do dare rebind. Okay, bring the shoulder blades off. Forehead to knee, bind is there. Yeah, crunch is there. Engage the abs just a bit. Nice, we'll hold here for 3. Breathing into that for 2. Now let's do this on 1. Legs go stick straight to the ceiling. So do the arms. So what are we going to look like? Look like a U shape, I guess. Yeah. And I want to suggest you give the fingers a wiggle, the wrists a rotation, the ankles some movement, the toes. And then I'm going to suggest we begin to shake. And it starts off a little slow or a little soft, and then we get a little more vigorous. Legs and arms, feet and hands. We start moving and grooving and shaking it all out for 5. Just as much as you feel comfortable shaking it for 4. You guys, nice. Here we are for 3. Shake, shake, shake for 2. Now on 1, pause. You may feel some tingling. Rebend the knees, soles of feet down to the mat. Hands come back down with the sides of the body.
Little brief pause here. And then DNR folks, discover and recover yoga folks, resting posture. They may feel comfortable to keep the knees bent. Some will find butterfly pose. Some will extend the right ankle to the right corner mat and left ankle left corner mat. Taking palms up, receiving a little more energy. Some practitioners do the palms down. It's been said to be a little more grounding. So either version, either way. Finding that sweet spot of Savasana that's going to perhaps entail a little shoulder shimmy, a little hip shimmy, or adjustment of side on your mat with those micro movements, and then maybe a couple full, rich and deep breaths in, and those beautiful exhales to let you just sink, melt into the mat. I have some students that are fond of fluttering the lips. And then we release into Savasana. And with the eyes closed, it's bringing us into that darkness, knowing that we can individually and collectively step into the light, step into your light. If there's any residual tension, any area that needs a little extra attention, figuratively, metaphorically, sending some soothing energy to release any stiffness or tightness. Soften through the facial muscles, soften through the lips, the throat, and the jaw. Find that voice of reason. Soft lips, soft throat, soft jaw. We can find a voice of compassion, a voice of empathy, of understanding when we're in these situations we find us in at work, at home, at play. And back to the breath as an anchor. Just a gentle reminder, DNR folks, when the going gets rough and the tension upticks, come back to the breath, please. A few more moments, please. Relish in the stillness. Comfortable in some of the quiet. In breath, let's reach the arms overhead. So we're expanding to the back mat now. Bend the elbows, opposite hand to opposite elbow. We did it standing. So now we're doing it supine. So I've got opposite hand to opposite elbow. The head is framed between the triceps and the biceps.
just become aware of where the arms land. Maybe the forearms find the mat, maybe they don't, or a little float here. See if we can relax around the shoulder heads, the shoulder girdle. Notice this. Hopefully you feel some expansion across the chest. And you feel like the heart is open, chest is open, open to the possibilities, open to the opportunities that happen when we discover and recover that which no longer serves, and recover through this practice, through other means. Now, inhale to release the bind, but as you exhale, rebind. Other forearm is on top. Still the head is framed, arms are back behind you. Hello. Relax the shoulders, the shoulder blades. They're super connected to the mat, I would imagine. Heart remains open. Chest expands, especially on the inhale. Inhale to let that chest expand. But as you exhale, release that bind. Wherever the hands want to go, wherever the arms want to go, maybe they come out like wings. I'm going to suggest we go to the other end of the body where the toes wiggle. Maybe the ankles get some windshield wipering. You can get to the other side of the head, move the head from side to side, but eventually, inhale draws both knees into the chest. So we're in that supine bind, coming into this again. Maybe a little side to side rock. Maybe it's a front to back rock. Maybe you revisit this front to back. Make sure the chin tucks in. Otherwise, some will float to the right side or left side. So we'll find, maybe some will find that fetal position floating to the right side or the left side. Connecting back to your intention, your purpose, stepping into your light. Please press on up to our seated posture. I'm going to go ahead and engage in this meditation cushion as something that helps me in my Shukrasana and my happy pose. So, an opportunity to reset or reassess in this posture. It's our closing posture. Notice this. Feels more comfortable to have the legs out long or come into butterfly pose. Maybe sitting on your knees is more preferred. Absolutely. Eventually, though, whatever seated posture, let's sweep the arms wide and high. If you like to keep the palms as if we're bringing energy up from the base of the palms, made above the crown of the head, and then we're back to the heart space, to the heart of the matter. And recognizing the power of stepping into the light, our light, embracing the dark shadows, doing some of that shadow work in however it might manifest with therapists, with a professional. Journaling, there's so many ways, but hopefully this will aid that process. Happy summer solstice, 21st of June, 2023. Please know the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit that dwells within me, indeed with a bunch of gratitude. Hopefully with a mindset and a heart set towards stepping into my light, vows to the divine light, the teacher, and the spirit that dwells within each of you guys. Namaste. Thank you, DNR Yoga folks. Wonderful day to you on this day. Whenever you're viewing this, be well. Peace. Love you all.